This is the tutorial for the checklist system in GroKit Core. The first thing we'll do to set up a checklist system is create an empty object and call this the checklist manager. We will then add a checklist manager component and take a look. The checklist manager manages all of the current checklist tasks that exist in the scene and handles the different states such as success, failure, reset, etc. We can see we have the current score, max score, list of tasks, list of completed tasks, and a list of events. All of these will make more sense once we set up the rest of the examples. In my prefabs folder, in GroKit Core modules, we have a checklist display and a checklist task prefab. I'm going to drag each of these into the scene. Our checklist display will display which tasks there are to be done, which have been completed, of those completed, which have succeeded, which have failed, what your final score is, and if you have finished. Right now, the checklist UI bridge, which handles all of that, is looking for the checklist manager, so we'll drag that in now. Now that that's all set up, we can look at our individual checklist tasks. For this task, we have an inward activator and a checklist task component. The checklist task component will handle all of the different elements of the task itself. For task name, we'll have a task where we need to put a ball on a shelf. So task name will be ball on shelf. We have a current score and a max score. Right now, I'm just going to set the max score to 1. And then we have some events for on complete, on succeeded, or on fail. I'm going to leave these blank for now. Our inward activator right now has the on event set to telling the task that it has been completed successfully, and the off event tells the test that it has been completed unsuccessfully. We can use this to debug and test before we set up our more involved functionality. Before we hit play on our checklist manager, we need to add our task to our list of tasks. If we click the plus button on our task list, we can see it's looking for a checklist task component. Let's hit play and test. We can see for our task list, we have ball on shelf. If I select the task and use its debug on event on the insert activator to complete successfully, we can see that it has been added to the task completed and task succeeded. Our score is 1 out of 1 and it's been marked as finished. Let's add another task. I'll name this one ball on shelf task. Duplicate this and we'll call this trash in bin task. We'll scroll down to our checklist task component and change the name here. Set it to trash in bin, and we'll weight this score a little bit higher, so we'll give this a score of 5. The last thing to do will be to come back to our checklist manager and add this trash in bin task to our task list. Let's hit play and test. Once again, I'm going to use the debug of our inward activators to fake the events. So for the ball and shelf task, we'll complete it successfully. We have a score of 1 out of 6. If I select my trash in bin and do the off event to have it fail, you can see that it's still added to the task completed, but this time it's added to the tasks failed. Our score is 1 out of 6, and we have finished winged. That wraps up our initial tutorial for checklists. Please check out our other GroKit Core tutorials for more.